Good morning, everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order. If you're able, please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome, everybody, to the first meeting of 2026. We're glad you all can be here with us today. First thing on the agenda is our annual recap State of the County address. I'm going to actually change things just a little bit. First, I'm going to ask Commissioner Kress Commissioner Boyce to give a quick report on the effort that the organization he's involved with called Wreaths Across America just put forth and kind of how that went, because I know there were some deadlines at the end of last year.
Yeah, so I hope everyone's aware that we just had our annual Wreaths Across America event. It happened on December 16th this year. For those of you who may not know, Wreaths Across America is a national organization whose intention is to create an opportunity for communities to raise money to put a wreath at the headstone of every military veteran buried in our VA cemeteries across the entire country. So I was invited to get involved in that a few years ago. Made it my personal mission to make sure that we raise enough money to put a wreath on every headstone, which is we've managed to do now for the second year in a row. They're out there now. If you get a chance, go see. It's awesome. Wreaths Across America organization every year provides a window of opportunity shortly after the ceremony where they give us a 2-for-1 deal for the next year. So if we can go out and raise the money during that period of time, we can do this for half as much. This year, the organization shortened that window of time by about 2 weeks. So we had from the day after the ceremony, December 17th, until December 31st to raise the money necessary in order to make sure that we have a wreath on every headstone next year. That was created a little bit of a panic, but it worked out. As in years past, everyone involved stepped up and said yes. I have to say that effort began right here with us 3 county commissioners committing to a significant portion of that money, and then also going to members of the community. And the Seven Feathers Tribe has stepped up huge the last 2 years with really large donations to help make that happen. And then some other folks who happen to be here in the room have been faithful supporters of that as well. So not to bring attention to them that they weren't expecting, but so I won't mention names, but and that's not what they do it for anyway. However, the good news is we were able to make the match again by the deadline of the 31st. So what to expect is on the 19th of this month. This is sort of a sight to behold. Actually, the 17th. The UCC student athletes will be out at the cemeteries with me helping to clean up the wreaths from this year. They do a fantastic job. They make short work of it. Last year it took 1 hour to clean up 7,000 wreaths from 2 cemeteries. So they do a great job. That's gonna happen on the 17th. And then next year, please mark your calendars. The Wreaths Across America ceremony is gonna be on December 19th of 2026. And you can expect a repeat of what we've seen the last 2 years. It's been a joy and a pleasure to be a part of that. And really to see the community come together and support our veterans the way that they have. And again, if you haven't got a chance to go out and see, it's pretty awesome. So appreciate the chance for the update.
Thank you, and thank you for that work and the rest of the committee that does that. I recognize that's not a county function, but you certainly take it on as a very important part of your work, and I appreciate you doing that. I've had the honor to be the keynote speaker the last several years, and it is quite the event, so I sure appreciate you and Commissioner Kress's support for it also.
We have those signs on the roads coming into Douglas County that say we honor veterans.
It's just one way to do that. Thank you. So the next thing, again, normally we do a big county recap, state of the county address. As much as I'd like to think all of you are here to listen to that, I realize you're not. So I am going to forego doing that today, and we're going to move to the election for chairman for 2026. And I'm going to nominate Commissioner Tom Crest to be the chair for this year.
And a second.
We have a motion, a second. Any questions or comments or acceptance, non-acceptance? We'll go ahead and call the vote. Commissioner Boyce.
Aye.
Commissioner Kress.
Aye.
The old chair votes aye and the motion passes. Just like that.
Well, my fellow commissioners, thank you for the vote of confidence. I know why you all are here today, so, I think we're going to, start, we got something special. We usually, as our time-honored tradition, we have a, little bit of a token gift from the board for the outgoing chair, so I'm gonna give that to, Commissioner Freeman today, and thank you very much.
Ticking, is it? So everybody knows what that is. I know exactly what it is. That's a place to set challenge coins. So some of the work I get to do working with the veterans groups, one of the traditions there is challenge coins. So I have, through the years in the legislature and now here at the county, have quite the collection of challenge coins, and I look forward to using them. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, at this time, actually, I'd like to call Tamara up, because there's more to this. You might want to say a few words.
Okay?
Hello. So thank you, Commissioner, and new Board Chair, Tom Cress. I'm Tamara Howell, Douglas County Public Affairs. Before we move forward, we have one more special piece to add to the celebration for outgoing Board Chair, Commissioner Tim Freeman. I know you're not a fan of surprises, so my apologies. But a little plaque just wasn't gonna cut it this year. By special request, and I had no shortage of volunteers, members of our community, veterans, county officials, and county employees have joined us to recognize Tim for his leadership and tremendous work our county government has accomplished over the past year. Today, we honor Commissioner Tim Freeman as he concludes his service as board chair for, I think, the third time or fourth time? In his role, Commissioner Freeman has guided meetings, events, disasters, and discussions with integrity, steadiness, and a clear commitment to public collaboration and public service. His leadership was not only kept us focused on our mission here at the county as employees, but has strengthened how we all work together to serve our community. In fitting that we pause to acknowledge his contributions and express our sincere appreciation, it would be really sad if we didn't fill up that coin board. So with that said, I'd like to introduce you to a few special guests that, like I said, volunteered to come here today. So Commissioner Freeman, can you please come forward?
Bring your tray.
Yeah, bring your tray. Good at. So, without further ado, and gallery, please bear with me as we do this. Commissioner Freeman, as I call your name, please step forward. Michael Kurtz will be presenting you with a special United States Army 250-year celebration coin. He is a veteran specialist for photojournalist with the United States Army. He is also a Bronze Star recipient with a V device. Without V device, sorry. And he is our current Douglas County Human Resources Director.
Privilege and honor to give you this.
Next we have Jim Little, who will be presenting the special 250-year United States Navy coin. He is a veteran retired Chief Warrant Officer 4 with the U.S. Navy and a meritorious silver medal recipient.
Commissioner Freeman, any day that you can be recognized for your hard work and the things that you do for the citizens of this county and also veterans, it is a great day for Douglas County, for Oregon, and for America. And I wish to give you a blessing only a sailor can give. I wish you following winds and fair winds and following seas for the rest of your life.
Thank you, Mr. Little.
Ron Dukes will be presenting the United States Air Force coin. veteran, retired Master Sergeant with the U.S. Air Force and member of the Non-Commissioned Officers Association here in Douglas County.
Pleasure to see you. And also thank you for your help in COA Legacy Medallion Program. And I'll be using you some more in the future as well, eh?
Call me anytime, I'm happy to come up. Thank you.
Presenting the United States Marine Corps 250-year celebration coin and a special Marine coin, James Barnett, veteran, retired first sergeant with the U.S. Marines and former Notre Dame ROTC instructor, earning honors like the Silver Star, Bronze Star, and the Purple Heart.
For you, and I also thank you for all you've done for us veterans over the time. And because I had to tell you a little white lie this morning, that I was not coming here.
I didn't even question you.
Well, you asked me if I was coming to your event, and I said, so I have another 250th one.
That's amazing. Thank you
Thank
very
you very
much.
much, sir.
Representing the United States Army Chief Warrant Officers Association, Dan Loomis, a veteran, retired Chief Warrant Officer 4 with the U.S. Army, earning the Bronze Star and Legion of Merit, and is our Douglas County Clerk.
Today, I present this military coin in recognition of an outstanding civilian whose advocacy for veterans has been unwavering throughout his service in elected office. 8 years ago this month, I met Tim. I first began attending commissioner meetings out of a desire to become a better advocate for veterans. Despite carrying more than 15 years of additional political experience, Tim freely offered mentorship and consistently addressed me not as a subordinate, but as an equal, and with genuine respect and deference, a standard he has maintained each day I am privileged to serve alongside him. This coin bears the highest military rank that I held upon retirement, Chief Warrant Officer 4, and represents the highest honor I can offer to one who has earned my respect and through his leadership and public service.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
Representing the United States Coast Guard, Tyler Connors, a veteran, former aviation.
Continue the service for us. Thank you.
Representing all the armed forces in support of our troops, and especially those that are part of the tribe, we have Robert Van Norman with the Cow Creek tribe of the Umpqua Band of Indians presenting a coin today. He is also a veteran of the U.S. Army and was a rank of E4. Thanks, Robert. Next we have remembering all who fought for freedom, and what more appropriate than our veteran service officer who has represented Douglas County and veterans and helped them find their way is our own veteran service officer, Mary Newman.
Thank you so much for helping all of our veterans in my office. Really appreciate it.
Representing a coin to remember all of our fallen heroes, we have Rick Scapati. He's a veteran specialist 5 with the U.S. Army and a Purple Heart recipient. Representing the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff John Hanlon, Douglas County Sheriff, who has been serving since 1989 and elected sheriff in 2008.
Thank you for your endless support of the Office of Sheriff and Public Safety in Douglas County, and for being my shotgun rider into some of the worst forest fires we've ever witnessed back during the Arch Creek fire.
So we're done with that.
Yeah, me too.
Representing the Douglas County District Attorney's Office, Rick Weisenberg, Douglas County District Attorney, serving in Douglas County as the Douglas County DA since 1992, or in the office since 1992, and elected the Douglas County District Attorney in 2008. Rick Weisenberg.
Commissioner Freeman, this coin reads justice, courage, wisdom, and temperance. And you, sir, embody each and every one of those characteristics. I want to thank you for your unwavering support of the DA's office and law enforcement, the DA's office, the sheriff's office, and law enforcement in general. And just want to congratulate you and thank you.
And last but not least, representing the Douglas County Drug Interagency Narcotics Team, we have Rick MacArthur, who's a lieutenant with Dent and the commander out there, and he's been serving Douglas County since 1995.
Long time. Commissioner, thank you. I just wanna personally say thank you for all that you've done for Dent. Dent's in a very good place right now, operational readiness and that sort of thing, and we wouldn't be where we are if it weren't for a lot of the hard work that you've done to support us. I know that for sure. And I have a thing to present at the meeting here in a little bit. It's another example of that. So I appreciate everything that you've done for us.
Very much.
Appreciate it.
Can I get everyone that presented a coin to please come up front here and we'll get a picture with everyone? Yeah, some of you will need to go up in the back.
Stay right here and present over this meeting. It's good.
Tell them where you want them. You can have the other commissioners step in there too, Chris and Tom. All right, if you can't see Kai, he can't see you, so.
Like to come closer. All right. Looking good. All right. On 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. You good? Yep. All right.
All right.
That's beautiful.
Get you another tray.
Yes, I'd have been very happy with just the tray. Thank you all for coming and doing that for me. That was very unexpected and very unnecessary, actually. My work for veterans is one of those things where we've heard all of our life, if you're doing something you love for work, you're not working. It's absolutely something I love to do. I would also like to mention, none of us here at the county succeed alone. We are a team, we work together, my fellow commissioners, the rest of the elected officials here at the county, and all of our staff. We are here to serve the public of Douglas County, and it is our honor to do that. Thank you all for the recognition.
You might have thought it was unnecessary, but it certainly was pretty easy to get volunteers, I will tell you that. So, again, it's great. We've got a long agenda, so we'll get to it. I think because we've got so many people here, we're gonna flip the agenda around a little bit. I think we're gonna go right into our item number 14 on our agenda, which is a public hearing. So at this time, I'd like to call Joshua Shackley, our planning department leader, to give us a staff report and tell us what we're doing here.
Good morning, Commissioners. Joshua Shackley, Douglas County Planning. Before you open the public hearing, I would like to take a moment to address some misinformation that has been spread over social media and recently published by the News Review. Based on this misinformation, the community was misled on matters related to the formation of the Winchester Ridge Domestic Water Supply District by conflating unrelated matters with the district formation. For this, we apologize to the public, especially those compelled to testify here today based on inaccurate information. So I want to briefly address a number of specific claims made by the article published by the News Review on Friday, January 2nd, 2026, under the headline, Douglas County Proposing Formation of Winchester Ridge Domestic Water Supply District. This past Monday, Douglas County released a publication called Setting the Record Straight, which addresses the errors in the News Review article point by point. Copies are available in the back of this room if you haven't gotten one. Viola Grinberg of Douglas County GIS also created maps to help clarify the geographic relationship between water districts. I will now share several of these corrections. Douglas County is not proposing the formation of the Winchester Ridge Domestic Water Supply District as stated in the original headline as seen on the slide up here. The formation was initiated by a chief petitioner through the collection of signatures from affected property owners. Douglas County is only responsible for processing the request. Water service in the Winchester Ridge development is not currently managed by the Winchester Water Control District, as was erroneously reported by the News Review. The area subject to the proposed district currently relies on groundwater to supply water to its residents. The Winchester Water Control District has no water rights and does not sell water. The area subject to the Water Control District receives water service either through the city of Roseburg on the south side of the river there, as you can see on the map, the sort of greenish area, or on the north side of the river from Umpqua Basin Water Association. There is no connection between the formation of the Winchester Ridge Domestic Water Supply District and the recent ruling on the Winchester Dam. There is no factual basis for this claim. Implying that there is a connection is misleading and irresponsible. The proposed Winchester Ridge Domestic Water Supply District does not include a permanent tax rate and is therefore not a taxing district. Instead, the district will be supported by user fees. Neither the district or the Board of Commissioners can assess or impose taxes on residents in the district. Had the petition proposed a tax rate, the matter would have been put to a vote of property owners within the proposed district at a general election. The map and photograph accompanying the original article in print and online further reinforced a connection between the proposed district, the Winchester Dam, and the Water Control District, a connection that does not exist. The original article, since corrected, stated that, quote, "Much is still unknown about the proposed district, such as who will oversee it and when it may be formed if the petition moves forward. This unknown information is available in public records filed with Douglas County. The News Review failed to do basic research and due diligence before publishing this article. The News Review made no apparent effort to clarify the facts of the proposed district prior to publication. Had the News Review done so, it could have reported on the process accurately, avoided drawing unsupported conclusions, and spreading misinformation in the community." Unless you have any questions, follow-up questions on any of that, I'll move into the staff report.
Just one quick, if I may, please. So, thank you. And I know there's been some updated articles and things to try to correct this, but once you ring a bell, it's hard to sort of get that fixed. But what we really haven't talked about is there's this tremendous belief in the public that somehow the county has some regulatory authority or influence or some oversight of the Winchester Dam. And I have asked every person that works here at the county for us, and anybody else I can ask, do you know of any connection? I don't think we have anything to do whatsoever with the regulatory aspect of the dam, with the dam being there. We don't participate in any of the work when it's, needs to be taken care of, or just, there's nothing that I can find that the county's involved in.
I know of nothing either.
Perfect. I know oftentimes people think the commissioners do everything, but in this case, this is not in our purview. It's nothing we do. Okay. Thank you.
Well, I hope that this is, kind of the last time we'll bring it up this way, and now I'll let you just go right into the staff report, and we'll go from there, okay? All right.
Morning, Commissioners, again. Before you this morning is a public hearing in order of district formation for the Winchester Ridge Domestic Water Supply District. The chief petitioner is Carl Kaufman. Proposed district boundaries are legally described in Exhibit A and also depicted in the boundary map accompanying the formation petition. The purpose of the district is to supply a reliable source of water to residences in the proposed district boundaries for domestic use. The order of district formation also appoints Carl Kaufman, Kelly Morgan, Kevin Kreckelberg, Toby Luther, and Jack Shoemaker to the Winchester Ridge Domestic Water Supply District Board of Directors for an initial term. Douglas County staff has reviewed the formation petition and finds that it complies with the requirements of ORS, Oregon Revised Statute 198.1800 to 198.857, and is in accordance with statewide planning goals and the Douglas County Comprehensive Plan. The formation petition was signed by more than 15 landowners or owners of 10% of the territory within the proposed district boundaries as required by state statute. And the signatures of the property owners of the proposed district have been verified by the Douglas County Clerk. I'm happy to answer commissioner questions. If there are none, the board should open the public hearing, accept oral and written testimony favoring or opposing the district, and following that testimony, the board should vote whether to approve the order and form the district, and also set a second and final hearing before the board for this matter on January 28th, 2026.
Either of you have questions for him?
One quick question. These type of districts are not uncommon in Douglas County, right? This isn't something unique. There's several different types, but we were given some information where it describes that there's, I think, a total of 24 water districts, but it looks to me like there's 14 of them that are not a city.
Can you show the third slide, Jennifer? There's a list on this third map. There's a list of water districts in Douglas County. As you can see, 9 formed with tax levy. 10 are city districts that go beyond city limits. And then 5 districts without a tax levy.
I know a very long time ago, I was with the city council of Roseburg, and Dixonville had its own water district then too, but it has since been merged with the Roseburg city, so that's their outside of the extended water district boundary, so at least one of their areas, so that would have been 25 total back then, so thank you.
Anything else from either of you? Okay, at this time, I'm gonna open up a public hearing. I wanna set a little, kind of how we're going to do this. The first folks I'm gonna invite up to speak, will be the petitioner. If the petitioner doesn't, that's optional, doesn't have to speak. Then we're gonna accept testimony from those that live within the proposed, or have property within the proposed district that are in favor of the formation. Then we're going to accept testimony from those that have property within the district that are opposed to the formation. And then we're gonna accept testimony from anybody else, and hopefully we keep that on topic. So at this time, I'm going to open up a public hearing. And if the petitioner would like to speak, now will be the time to do that.
Like to and feel compelled to are two different things.
And please, everybody, say your name for the record, and we can come up.
I'm Carl Kaufman, I'm the chief petitioner on this. I bought a couple of maps, and I don't know what to do with them. I'm not sophisticated enough to have thought ahead about using this system, so what they are is they're pictures of our application. I'm just gonna send that here. You don't have to put them up. And I've got some that I made smaller that I can share with you fellas. Is that, can I approach?
Sure.
This is just that's the boundaries of the district that we're talking about.
It sort of matches with what we have.
Yeah, and so this is, you know, this picture that I'm sharing with you, I brought some posters in case we could put them up so that, because I know there's a lot of neighborhood communication and angst about this, and so I just was trying to set the record as straight as I could. One of these, you guys just saw a separation of the Winchester Dam issue and the Winchester District
that we're trying to form issue and, you know, I was never contacted about that article or asked any question about it, so was surprised by it as well. So I think I'm just here to introduce kind of the purpose and history of why we're making this application. I said earlier, I'm Carl Kaufman. I was born and raised in Morro Point. My dad had an oil factory in Norway. You can choose which one of those you want. One of them has shows our distance from the dam, and the other one, which has already been discussed, and that's probably the one that I just shared with the commissioners. My dad owned an aero factory in Norway, Oregon, and when I graduated school, I worked in mills over there. In between I ended up later decided to move to the Portland area. By happen chance, I wanted to be a builder, and I started that process in about 1979. You might all remember 1980 wasn't a very good year for interest rates, so I turned into an excavation guy because I had an old cat and I hired a couple of guys to put drain fields in. That became my business, and you know, Kaufman Excavation now has about 175 guys working. They're all union paid guys. We do a lot of technical work in Portland, and they just started doing some work in Boise on some fab work over there. I'm really proud of them, but I'm not very involved with them. I'm a minor owner in that. The employees of that company have taken over. Our president used to drive truck for us, and I'm in love with blue collar guys, just learning from the ground up and making their way through it. Along with working through and developing that business, I did a lot of land development, and I did that because I could keep employees working while we didn't have work from other you know, owners having us to do some work for them, so we would do it ourselves. And that ended up being about, you know, half of my time was spent on that. At one time, we voted whether we union or not. We had a 60-3 vote against being union, but I became convinced we should join the union then. So all of our guys are paid union scale. I think we take good care of them. I say all that because I want to separate myself from this concept of I'm just here to make money, because that's not honestly just what I'm about. When I came to Roseburg, I'd already developed over 1,000 lots, and I knew there was a lot of risk down here because it's an area that I don't know very well, even though I grew up not too far away from it. It's an area that has a different demographic. It has different soils. It has different terrain. All those things are different, and I knew people that had tried developing in Roseburg and had gone broke doing it. So I was uneasy about coming here, but I'm also a big risk taker, and so I ended up taking that risk. I bought 1,000 acres in Roseburg. We're talking about the 500 right now that we're discussing is putting into this boundary. The right-hand side of this map is Winchester Ridge. It was my intention to develop all of this. Winchester Ridge was going to be phase one of a couple of phases. The left side of this map we call Windmill Hill because it used to have a windmill on it. It is undeveloped. All of this land is zoned for 5-acre zoning. If I'm not mistaken, I think that whole land use process of urban growth boundaries and zoning was kind of created in about 1972 or so. And it's interesting because as I've done development work, you know, that zoning doesn't change, and land with that zoning is meant for what it was zoned for. So this is all zoned for 5-acre parcels. The challenge is that you can have that zoning, but then you have so many different jurisdictions that have different requirements for that. Some of those are simply code requirements, some of those are jurisdictional requirements, but there'll be things like, you know, this is a perfect issue. We don't have anybody here that wants to sell water to that area, so we couldn't just say, hey, we'll buy water from somebody. We drilled wells. So when we developed Winchester Ridge, of course, timing isn't always our friend, so that was in 2006 when we drilled our first wells, and you might remember 2008 wasn't a very good time. So in 2006, we started drilling wells, and we drilled 20 wells on this property. 2 of those wells are on the area that is called Windmill Hill. All the rest of them are on Winchester Ridge. I have all this paperwork that I was gonna read and talk to you about, but I've kind of set that aside. And I was gonna start with telling you this, and I'm just gonna stop and tell you now. That was a real impressive ceremony that just happened here, and the background and the culture that all that shares with the public is really important, and I just appreciate it, I just wanna tell you that. So anyway, we drilled about 18 wells on this property alone. Out of those 18 wells, one of those is serving about 35 homes up there. And about half of those 20 have been set aside because there's not enough water out of them. And the balance of them, the other 6 or so, are used to do, because of different elevations on this property, and because of the elevation difference, and 6 of those wells are down below, can be considered exempt wells. They can be shared with a couple of property owners apiece, but they're not on the system, if that makes sense to you. So we had 2 wells that were really good wells, and now there's been a long time passed. I've owned this property for 20 years now. And during that time, we've drilled most of those wells early on. Then we went through a period where they were starting to run dry. And we drilled well number 17 and 20. 20 was the backup, 17 was a magnificent well. It wasn't until we drilled number 17 that we had enough water we could say, okay, we're not running dry anymore, we're not hauling water anymore. We can sell the rest of these lots and I can work my way out of here. And that's where we're at today. Right now, this last summer, we had to turn off well 20. It was our backup well, and we would alternate the water feeding the reservoir between those 2 wells. Well 17 is still magnificent, runs good. I did the math on this, and I calculated that if the EPA says that a family uses 300 gallons of water a day, if I took 80 homes, if I filled up more than we can actually build because of the terrain on this property, that well would run less than a third of a day to keep all that in capacity. Do I think it would do that? Maybe. Do I think it could last forever doing that? No. But do I know that? No, I don't know that, right? So we're here because of the unknown. We're looking for a plan B, just because our plan A, we've drilled a lot of wells, we can't drill more wells, I don't think it's worthwhile. And so we're looking to have an option. So what my request is of this body is to allow us to look for those options. And by that means to approve our request to become a district, because as a district, we carry a little bit more weight than we do as just a service provider for this water. We have a little quasi-governmental label. We have a group that is actually now commissioners of a district with an obligation to take care of the other owners in that district. I believe it's a right, and I believe it's a responsibility to develop this property all to provide housing. I think that's important. And when I talk about the zoning on that, it's a very important conversation in my heart, because it's a zoning that made me decide to buy this property. It's a zoning that, in my mind, gives me kind of the responsibility to develop this property. Now, I'm a 71-year-old guy now, right? I bought this property 20 years ago. I don't know that I'm gonna develop that next phase. My initial plan with this property was to be the declarant, which is sort of like the board of directors, until my last lot was sold. I've got 5 lots there now. I could just say I'm gonna stay on as a declarant, and I'm gonna be the board through that process, but there's a lot of people up there that don't like that. They really want to control their own community. So I've said, well, if we can become a water district, and if we can find out a water plan so that all this can be developed, I'm happy to agree to that, because I really don't want to do that anymore. I've been doing that for 20 years, and it's cost me a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money, honestly. So again, my request is just that you let us continue our process to figure out what that path is. And I'm gonna talk about that for just a minute, because I expect there should be questions about that. Right now, I think it's fair to say, and I think anybody in our association would agree with this. We've had a few meetings, we have a lot of, how do I say, I'm not sure. We have a lot of misunderstanding and a fair amount of mistrust about my intentions, what we should be doing up here, why we're having a water problem, how come I didn't know it was on a well, how come I didn't know there's a risk of running out of water. All those things are kind of swirling around this. And in my mind, the only way to get through that is to become a water district, continue communicating with our neighborhood. Our neighborhood has to vote through that water district on the next step. I know this, I know that we have not sat down as a board and said, what are the 3 or 4 different steps that we can do to provide secure water for our neighbors? And that is, in my mind, the chief job of this district, right? So, I don't wanna spend much time here, I don't wanna repeat myself. I wanted to sort of repeat my request, which is that we be allowed to become a water district so that we can look to secure the valuable resource of water to finish developing this property and to be a backup or a primary plan for the water supply for this what is it, 550 acres, right? If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, since you're the chief petitioner, I'm gonna ask the board if they have a question or two.
So I have nothing now. If there's something that comes up, could we call them back up later?
If you wouldn't mind staying as long as you
No,
can,
I'm
cause
happy.
there may be something come up.
I just spent 3 hours getting here from Portland just in time, so
Appreciate it.
I'll stay a little
Commissioner
longer.
Boyce, did you have anything before we hear?
No.
Okay, I'll remind everybody, we're still under public hearing. The next thing I'd like to do, if anybody's wanting to testify that is in favor of the proposed district and also lives within that district, please come on up.
Thank you, Commissioners. First off, just apologize for the consternation that this issue has caused. I thought it would be a fairly benign issue. Unfortunately, some irresponsible reporting by the News Review has caused a lot of issues for you guys. We are, just as Carl said, we're simply trying to form a district for a neighborhood of 30-some homes so we can solve our long-term water issues. I moved up there in 2022, and shortly after that, I realized we're on wells that are not necessarily gonna be something we can rely on long-term. So there's a group of us that have gotten together and really said, we need to try to find a solution. So we pushed on Carl to put this before you guys. So there's broad support, not 100% support, but broad support from our neighborhood to move forward with this. It's really just to form a district where a group of us can start working on long-term solutions for water. It's as simple as that. We're not asking you for a tax base or anything like that. So hopefully it's pretty perfunctory. We thought it would be. Again, I apologize that it turned into kind of the show it did this last week for you guys. Thanks.
Got anybody else that would like to testify in favor of the proposed district?
Yeah, I'm Kelly Morgan. I live up at Winchester Ridge, and we lived up there 17 years, my wife and I. So I think we have the second longest tenure for anybody up in the neighborhood. I do want to emphasize that I think the beauty of this particular project is usually people come to the commissioners and want something. We want some money, we want some infrastructure. All we want is a simple yes vote to form the district so that we can move ahead to try to come up with a game plan that's gonna give us a permanent water supply. As staff has mentioned, as Toby, it's really unfortunate, with the local news media and social media, I think everybody has a complete misunderstanding of what we're trying to do. And I think the only thing that we have in common with the Winchester Dam is Winchester. Long term, if indeed that there's gonna be a cost to put in whatever we need to do to solve this issue, that will be up to the neighborhood, be up to the water board, it'll be up to our HOA, that we're gonna have to assess ourselves to pay for it. So we're not requesting anything from a financial standpoint, but just to give us a green light so we can come up with some options. So I would encourage you to vote yes today when it comes to a vote, and I appreciate your time and listening.
Thank you.
I'll tell you that in the last week, I've wished you'd named it South Ridge Water District. All right, do we have any other testimony in favor?
So my name is Michael Bilbrey, live at 1120 South Ridgeway. My wife and I moved down here from McMinnville about 3 years ago. Love the community. Moved down here primarily to take care of our parents as they're aging, and found our dream home on South Ridgeway, somewhere we can retire and live out the rest of our lives. One of the things that hasn't been mentioned during these proceedings, commissioners, is the concern about fire suppression. As far as the amount of water available, I do not believe that there'd be enough, as it states right now, or because on average, I believe the tank is 2/3 full on an average daily basis. I don't believe that would be enough for any appropriate fire suppression for the current amount of homes that are on South Ridgeway. And that in itself should be a major point for approval of this water district. So again, I do favor the water district primarily for, not only for safety, but for fire suppression reasons as well. And yeah, so I encourage a yes vote to get this water district in place and move forward.
Thank you.
Excuse me,
Excuse me. Are you guys part of a fire district now? Are you covered for fire protection?
That's a good question. I'm unaware. I don't know.
It's down on the other side of the mountain.
Okay.
Are you part of the fire district?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, do we have anybody else in favor of formation that lives within the district? Okay, seeing none, I now will accept testimony for those that live within the district that are opposed to formation of the district. Live or own property within the district. All right, we'll move on then, and I'm gonna accept general testimony. Again, we would appreciate if you could keep it on topic. Anybody like to testify? Please state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Avon Held, and I'd just like to say that so far I have heard no testimony as to why these 30 properties should be given government powers. I think it's been many, many decades since the last water district was formed in this county, and this would by far be the smallest and lowest population of all of them. If my neighbors wanted to get together and put some pumps in, negotiate for water, we can do that. We don't need to be a government agency. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anybody else like to testify?
I have somebody online.
You have somebody online, okay. Let them in.
Joe, go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
Right, yeah. This is Joe Ross from Roseburg. Good morning, gentlemen. First of all, I just want to enter for the record the response of the news review to the county's grievances that were published in the Setting the Straight record. They published that this morning online. They take full responsibility for their errors, and they've made several corrections. They agreed with the county that the headline was incorrect. They clarified that the Winchester Water Control District is not connected to the Winchester Dam. Third, they said much was not known about who will run the district, and they just said due to time constraints when they published that information had not been shared with the news review by county officials. The managing editor also stated that the reporter, Mr. Griffin, communicated with two county commissioners and went with the information that he was given. So I don't want to give the impression that he did not contact county officials prior to publishing that news review article that has been referenced several times this morning. And finally, as managing editor, Mr. Winkelmeyer took full responsibility for the articles that his staff publishes, and he feels that there are better ways to address concerns with news review articles, and they are committed to ethical journalism, and they won't waver in that commitment, and they will make corrections when they're pointed out to them and as needed. So that said, I would first like to just say that again, we have a lot of confusion on the behalf of the public in regard to a proposal that is requiring a public hearing this morning. And I continue to advocate for more proactive, upfront transparent, open houses if possible. If it's possible to put up this information in such a way and using your staff there in your informational department to educate us out here in the public, there would be a lot less confusion. And several of us would then understand what the proposal is. And that said, I am basically neutral and quite supportive of the formation of this water district. And that is because once I got a handle about what is being proposed, I went to the county's own comprehensive plan and accessed Volume 2, Appendix M, concerning the municipal, rural, domestic, and industrial water suppliers within Douglas County. What I found was that there are several water districts already. There are, of course, the municipal water supplies in each of our cities. And as Mr. Freeman pointed out at the beginning of the hearing this morning, many of them are in rural communities and not in cities. Some have tax levies, some don't. And my understanding is that the Winchester Ridge Water District for domestic supply is fairly minimal to those neighbors in that neighborhood, and they have no intentions to levy any tax levies. And I just wanted to clarify that, if you have the time to do that. And lastly, the last thing I just want to point out is that your own county planning is a little bit out of date. The 2008 update to the appendix regarding water resources, the municipal, rural, domestic, and industrial supplies is now 18 years old. And when it was published, it did give projections from the current year regarding populations in each subbasin, their water use and projected water use. And in this particular subbasin B, the 2006 projection was the population was 7212, and Douglas County's own projection indicates a 1.5 population increase per year. So by 2030, there will be 11,500 people wanting the water in that district subbasin. And by 2050, which again is only a few decades away, there will be over 15,000 people, based on the county's estimate, needing water in that district. Your bottom line from county information is that there will be shortages in the summer months. There will not be enough water in August and September, particularly within that particular subbasin. And so I would encourage water conservation measures as the result of any action taken regarding this water district. Be very clear that conservation needs to be implemented with the increasing population in the county. And secondly, I would say that I would encourage the county to update its comprehensive plan appendix regarding water resources, because they have changed in the last 17 years, and perhaps the estimates of population and projected use of water in the future will be changing as well. So I know that would be a large, costly task to update the comprehensive plan, but you may want to take a look at it and do some editing. And with that, I will say I'm a big believer in private property rights, and I believe those people on Winchester Ridge have a need and desire for a better water district up there to manage and control their domestic water supply. So I'm supportive of this.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. Before we move on, I know there's at least two errors I'd like to correct in that, but I'll let you have the opportunity to do that. Anybody, my fellow board.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. The report this morning that came out in the paper, which I'm grateful for, and thank the newspaper for doing that, did not include that. It didn't say that the reporter had talked to anybody before the article was published. After the article was published, there was some communication that occurred.
That's correct. The other one is there is, I wouldn't want him to be alarmist here. Those folks that are hooked up to either Umpqua Basin Water or the City of Roseburg Water have plenty of water supply. We're not forecasting any problem in the future with water. Both of them get them from the North Umpqua. We have plenty of water. Unfortunately, our groundwater in Douglas County is a problem. So the people like these wells, it will continue to be a problem. But anyway, I wanted to clarify that.
Tom,
Yeah.
just real quick, just because, I wanna talk about this news review thing for just a second.
I'm sorry?
I wanna talk about the news review thing for just a second.
Okay.
Tim mentioned one thing. No one from the news review called us before they printed their original article. It is true that after the article was printed and I recognized some errors in it, I called the news review directly. I didn't call Drew Winkelmeyer, I called someone above him and said, hey, you've got a problem here. I was actually on speakerphone with the author of the original article and went through it line by line and told him where he had everything wrong. But they absolutely did not call us before the article was printed. And then the other point I just made was, not only in this particular case did we contact them and say, hey, you made a mistake, but this is a very regular occurrence. We contact the news review on a very regular basis and show them where what they've printed is not accurate. And it has finally gotten to the point where it has gone beyond damaging our reputations personally as political leaders, but also threatening the hopes and dreams of our community members who are trying to better themselves. And at that point, we felt like we needed to step in and do something different. I signed up for this job. I get that people are gonna believe things about me that aren't true because they read some article that wasn't accurate in the newspaper, and I can deal with that. But when it starts to affect the ability of the homeowners in the community to do the things that they need to do, like protect their own homes from fire, something has to be done, okay? It really got to that point before we as a county decided that we needed to do something to set the record straight. And I wish I knew how many times I've called over there and talked to them about the errors in their reporting. I don't know, it's been many. But for that reason, I just want people to know, we have made a very diligent effort to make sure that the information that we provide is available. All the information that's relevant to this district was in the file and available through the planning department, every bit of it, had someone just cared enough to ask before they printed the story. So that's where we're at with it. And again, the important part of this isn't the fact that we get blamed for it, cause that's what we do for a living. But it's the fact that these folks that, and Kelly, to your point, Kelly Morgan, the easiest work that we do is when our citizens come to us with a problem and they don't want anything except for the permission to provide their own solution. So when people come and say, hey, look, we have an issue, we don't want anything from you, but the permission to be able to solve this problem on our own, that's typically a pretty easy vote for me, and that's what we've tried to do. But then when you get this outside influence that comes in and makes this into a big blunder that it was never intended to be or should have been, it hurts those folks' chance to be able to help themselves solve their own problems. So that's why we stepped in. Okay.
Anything else before we move on?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna ask.
As far as transparency, I just want to remind everybody that our entire packet for the board meeting is uploaded to our website, so all of this entire packet is online for you to read. That's all.
All right, still accepting testimony from anybody opposed, any new opposed? We're still under a public hearing. All right, seeing none, I'm gonna close the public hearing. Pleasure of the board.
I'll move to approve the district.
There's actually some recommended language motion.
There is. You wanna get that?
Move to approve the formation of the Winchester Ridge Domestic Water District as described in Exhibit A and as depicted on the boundary map submitted with the formation petition. And I also move to set a time and place for the final hearing on this matter for January 28th, 2026 at 9 AM in this very room at the Douglas County Courthouse.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Discussion.
I do wanna ask a question, and I see the chief of the fire district is here.
Okay.
This area that we're talking about, do you provide structural fire protection for it now?
We do, there are a portion of the houses that are not in the district, I mean, they're within our response area, but not the district.
Okay.
But we do provide fire protection.
So
Not to put you on the spot, but would you consider having a better water supply beneficial for your work?
We would, I know that's been a concern for a long time, the number of hydrants and the water supply. It is in our, for us, it is a tender response, we're gonna take tenders up there with us as well. But, that's another 2,000 to 4,000 gallons of water, it's not, but water supply is always a huge part of the fire suppression. Those are some big homes up there that require a lot of water.
So just for clarification's sake, for anyone who might be in the room or part of the proposed water district that live up there, the answer is that you do live within the boundaries of Fire District 2, but your individual house may not have been annexed into the district. So if you want to make sure that you're having fire coverage at your home, it would be responsible of you to petition to annex into that district yourself. We would like for an owner-initiated petition to come before us to add you to the district boundary.
Any other comments or questions? I have a quick comment on the district. I live in a very similar situation, in a neighborhood similar to this, and the same zoning, that kind of thing, Carla, so I really relate to what's going on with the wells up there. I got to watch one by one the wells on the hill kind of go dry. People sort of scramble. I got lucky because Umpqua Basin Water was close enough that I could hook up to that. Without that, at some point, you're trucking water at best. And so, appreciate the struggle. I know this will give you some options to do something, and so just with that. Yeah. Anything else? A call for the vote. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and the motion passes. Okay, the next item on our agenda, we got some business items to take care of, but we've been at this a while. I don't know if anybody's in here who wants to leave, we'll do that now. I'll give you 5 minutes and we'll turn that down. Again, the next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. It's just got some committee reappointments and some extensions of contracts, and I would move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Mr. Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and the motion passes. So next on the agenda is a place for citizens' questions and comments on agenda items. And so anything on here other than the one we just did, public hearing, now will be the time to do that. Have anybody that would like to comment? Anybody online?
Nobody online.
All right, we'll move on. Next item on the agenda is a Dent grant agreement, looks like, and we happen to have Dent Commander Rick MacArthur we can invite up.
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, Rick MacArthur with the Douglas Interagency Narcotics Team. This before you today is an extension, or maybe better said, is the next grant cycle of an existing grant. It's the Illegal Marijuana Market Enforcement Grant Program within the CJC, which essentially is just illegal marijuana enforcement. It's for the sum of $1,945,652. And that would be funding through August 31st of 2027. And as I said, it's essentially for enforcement of illegal marijuana activities within the boundaries of the county. And it is an existing grant that we've had for several years now, but this is just the latest grant cycle. And I guess I would also just quickly like to say that I'd like to thank Commissioner Freeman for all the work that you've done on this. For anybody who doesn't know, he did a lot of really heavy lifting on getting this grant to go through, and especially in the form in which it is now. And I'm personally very appreciative of that. And any questions, I'm happy to answer. Questions?
I'll fill a little bit of that in. So this year, I'm on the Criminal Justice Commission, so this year the request for funding far surpassed the funding that was available. And the Criminal Justice Commission uses part of the organizational chart. There's a grant review committee that sort of reviews the applications and decides a recommendation for the funding levels. And because there was a reduction in the amount of funding available and an increased ask, their initial recommendation to the Criminal Justice Commission, again, the Grant Review Committee, was to kind of spread that money out all over the state and, give everybody a little bit. Having looked at some of the information that each of the organizations submitted as part of the grant application, it was very obvious that the lion's share, over 80% of the illegal marijuana enforcement had occurred in 3 counties. So the idea of taking that money and putting it into counties where there had not really been the problem to the same degree there had been in those 3 counties didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I did do quite a bit of research, quite a bit of crunching of the numbers, and had a opportunity to talk to the chair of the Criminal Justice Commission and the staff up there, and then present to the rest of the commissioners a alternative proposal that would focus those resources on those counties that would do the best with the dollars that they received. And as taxpayers of Oregon, we would get the best bang for our buck. Now, that being said, I was very clear to disclose that, the county I'm from is one of those 3, not the largest of those 3, but one of those 3. And even though our county and the work that Rick and his team have done, more plants eradicated than all the other counties put together, I think we came in 3rd on the funding level. But that change between spreading it out all over the state and focusing it on a smaller group, or where the lion's share of the work is being done, changed our grant by $400 and something thousand. It was substantial, and the counties south of us even to a greater degree. So I was grateful that the rest of the Criminal Justice Commission also believed focusing those dollars to provide the most benefit. So Rick and Nick and others helped provide me with some of that information, and I appreciate it.
I'm gonna move to approve the grant agreement.
Do I need to second that since?
Yeah, I'm gonna abstain from that.
I'll second that. Commissioner Freeman's gonna abstain from voting on this one and quite possibly the next one because he's on the very committee that got us this grant. So with that, I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman abstains.
I'm gonna abstain due to the fact that I'm on the Criminal Justice Commission.
Chair votes aye and the motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Next item is a juvenile grant. Invite up Corey Tate.
Good morning, Commissioners. Corey Tate, Juvenile Department and LIPSIC Coordinator. So on the other side of the spectrum from his grant proposal, my grant agreement is number JMD-27-09 between Douglas County and the State of Oregon Criminal Justice Commission for the jail-based medications for opioid use disorder grant in the amount of $355,088. This is for drug addiction treatment and transition planning services to persons in custody in the Douglas County Jail and will help support jail medical provider to continue medications and treatment for drug addiction to adults in custody from 10/1/25 to 8/31 of 2027.
Move to approve the grant agreement.
I'll second this one as well. Motion and a second. I'll call for the question. Any comments still before I do? Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Again, I'm gonna abstain because I'm on the Criminal Justice Commission and we review these at that level.
Chair votes aye and the motion passes. Thanks, Corey. Okay, next on the agenda is Juvenile Department.
Morning, Wendy Lang, Juvenile Department. This is a renewal. This is a IGA 15542 between the state of Oregon and it's through the Oregon Youth Authority, which provides compensation and costs associated with the expunction of juvenile records. And that's related to Senate Bill 575 and Senate Bill 519. The reimbursement to our department would not exceed $81,720.78 and it would be good January 1st of this year through December 31st of 2027.
And I will move to approve the grant agreement.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and the motion passes. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you very much.
Next item is a Parks Department item. It's a board order. I'm guessing maybe Commissioner Boyce or is Tiffany doing this one?
I'm gonna do this for Mark. He's out with a death in the family. This is a board order adopting Douglas County Parks Department special event insurance policy for future events held at county parks. This is work that I worked on with Mark and legal counsel, Tiffany specifically, to try to address some liability issues around some of the things that people wanna bring into the parks for the events that they rent our facilities for. The main topic of conversation was bounce houses, fortunately, but we got it sorted out. This is a new policy and move to approve the board order.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and motion passes. Next item is also a Parks Department item.
So this is an amendment to a grant agreement that we already have in place between Douglas County and the OPRD Land and Water Conservation Fund. To amend the total project cost from $1,951,771.01 to $2,241,999.36. Increases the grant by a total of $145,114.17. This is a situation where the organization had more grant money to give out and no one was asking for it. We asked for an increase in this grant agreement to be able to include the landscaping at the Stanton Park refurb that we're doing in Canyonville, and we're granted that. So this will also increase the grantee match participation from $975,885.51 to $1,120,999.38. Move to approve the grant agreement amendment.
And I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Questions or comments on that?
Well, I'd just like to comment on how nice that's looking down there. It's coming right along.
Can't wait till it's done. Yeah. Oh, and one other thing real fast for anyone that's listening or wants to know. Stanton Park is a primary destination for winter steelhead fishermen, which that season's really just taken off right now. The normal access to the river through Stanton Park is through the lower campground, which is currently under construction. It is not a safe place for the public to be because there's construction equipment and all kinds of things down in there. So we have created an alternate route to get down to the river through the campground. There's a new road that goes from the upper level campground down around kind of the backside down to the river down there for guys to be able to access the gravel bar for bank fishing and also for drift boat launching. So we do recommend four-wheel drive if you're gonna go down and use that road. Eventually it will be paved and permanent, but for the time being, it's gravel and it's in pretty good shape. I was down there the other day checking it out and guys are using it. But for people that wondered, there is a second access there available.
You know, I for one am very grateful that you proactively thought of that. We would have definitely had some phone calls. Many of them might have been first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Like real first thing.
Yeah.
To yourself.
With that, I'm gonna call for the question. Commissioner Boyce.
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman.
Aye.
Chair votes aye and the motion passes. Next item is a Public Works Department item. Item up our Public Works Director, Scott Adams.
Good morning, Commissioners. Scott Adams, Public Works Director. The item in front of you is a contract between Douglas County and Kevin Saylor Excavation Inc. to provide miscellaneous road maintenance on an on-call and as-needed basis. This has an expiration date of December 29th of 2026.
I will move to approve the contract.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce.
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion passes. Next item is also a Public Works Department item.
Again, Scott Adams, Public Works. This item is a contract between Douglas County and Bruce Stanley Construction, again, to provide miscellaneous emergency road maintenance and on an on-call and as-needed basis. This is an expiration date of 12/29 of 2026 as well.
I'll move to approve the contract.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Questions or comments on these? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce.
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman.
Aye.
Chair votes aye and the motion passes. Thanks, Scott. Thank you. Next two items on the agenda are solid waste department items. Looks like I'll invite up our director, Nick Freisinger.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nick Freisinger, Solid Waste. Item number 12 is an intergovernmental agreement between Douglas County and City of Roseburg for RV storage and disposal. This agreement is for 1 year with the option to extend.
I will move to approve the intergovernmental agreement.
I'll second.
Question and, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce.
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman.
Aye.
Chair votes aye and motion passes. Item 13 is also solid waste item.
Again, Nick Freisinger, Solid Waste. Item number 13 is for contract 30002839 between Douglas County and Vista Geo-Environmental Services for engineering consulting services. This is following RFP 238 for engineering consulting services, and Vista was the winning proposer.
Move to approve the contract.
I'll second that.
With a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seems it's amazing how many engineering contracts we have today do to put stuff in the ground. Appreciate we try to stay on top of it. Thank you. That'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce.
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman.
Aye.
Chair votes aye and the motion passes. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Last on our agenda today is commissioner comments. Commissioner Boyce.
Commented enough today, I think.
Not you, Commissioner Freeman.
One quick thing, I've been working on a little piece of legislation at the federal level that would alter dramatically the amount of funding the county gets from timber receipts off O&C land. That language and that work is in the bill and is supposed to be heard and passed tomorrow. So look for a big announcement if that occurs. So kind of exciting. So it's funny, almost 10 years I've been working on this. A lot of the stuff, when you work on federal issues, literally takes an act of Congress to accomplish. And had a couple of those along the way, and this would be the biggest one if it's successful.
Time flies when we're having fun, huh? Nothing from me today. Thank you folks for electing me chair and instilling the confidence in me, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, our next meeting. We won't have one next Wednesday, we'll have one the Wednesday after that. Adjourn the meeting.